So it would seem like this is a timeless delivery and exposure of what is already. A timeless pointing out of what is and is not. It's only simply this, timelessly this. There's no process, there's no practice, there's no path to follow in what's being exposed and pointed out here. There's no sense that there's any destination or outcome or goal or conclusion to be made. There's nothing that needs to happen for this to be the absolute. The absolute is whole. The absolute is unconditional. The absolute is without an edge, without time or space. Time and space can appear, but that's relative. And the absolute is really the absence of relativity, of relationship. It's completely all there is. There's nothing that needs to be done, therefore. There's nothing that needs to actually happen or change for that to be the case. So what we're sort of exploring, in a sense, conceptually, but also energetically, is the possibility that this is already complete. This is already unconditionally fulfilled. So only relative things can seem to be moved towards or away from, and there's nothing wrong with any of that, of course, but that really isn't actually what this is about. It's not about I've got something that you can have, or I've lost something that you too can lose. There's no sense that there's more or less. There's no sense that there's higher or lower, that someone knows what they're talking about, or that something has been achieved, even though the body sits at the front of a room like this. There's no sense that actually anything is more or less anything else, not without comparison, and all of that's relative again. So the absolute, it's just total, it's just this. Really, it is just the simplicity of sitting in a living room in Brighton, hanging out, having a chat, having a bit of fun with what's being shared, playing with terms and concepts, asking questions maybe, sitting quietly, laughing, crying, getting frustrated, getting bored, whatever is appearing is equanimously this. There's no meaning to any of it, not without the storytelling. There's no need for a meaning either. There's no need to apply a meaning or a purpose to this which is abundantly whole. Only the storytelling seems to suggest that. Only the storytelling seems to say this is where it came from and this is where it's going. But without that storytelling fantasy energy, there's just sitting. There's just sitting and listening. There's sensation and perception, and it's all just freely there to appear. But it's not under the illusion that it's actually happening to someone, and that someone is orchestrating this on a micro or a macro level. This is abundantly whole, and that means there is no real separate observer to this reality. And that's where this gets a little bit more, if it could be any more, incomprehensible, is that there's no such thing as a separate self. Right, so non-duality is exposing and proposing that there is no duality. Well, self demands an other. Self demands a subject and an object, which is dualistic. It's a dualistic paradigm. And it's an illusion. There is actually no real subjective centre to which all of this is happening in front of. It's not distant. It's not distant, which is why the word immediacy comes up quite a lot, because immediacy is not distant and it's not separate. It's not anything other than this. So this doesn't mean it's really, really close, and it doesn't mean it's near. It's just this. It's not located. It's just this. But it seems like in the totality and the abundant whole of this, that energetically a simulated centre can seem to appear, and that would feel itself to be like, and I've been using this metaphor recently, a whirlwind. It's sometimes called contracted energy, it's sometimes called me, or a center, or a dream of orientation, but somehow or other recently it seems to be sort of expressing itself conceptually as a whirlwind. It's a bit like you imagine a tornado that just kind of gathers up an illusory momentum of energy, and it feels like it's circulating and revolving. And the reason it seems so like that is because it seems to be going round and round, and it breeds this illusion of continuity, like what's happening is actually moving through time, that there's before this and there's after this, and that there's a now which I abide in, but I relate to the past and the future as separate. And that's a kind of illusory energy, but it's also a misconception that there's linearity, that this reality is actually moving through time. And also in that seems to be like awareness of what's happening. So it seems like someone is aware of these words right now, or that someone is aware of sitting on a seat, or someone is aware of the little movements in the carpals and the tarsals. And that is, yeah, the illusory whirlwind energy, yeah, vibrantly pretending or appearing to be that way, but there's no substance there. And yet, in its kind of dramatic whirlwindish energy, it feels so substantial. It's like it seems so solid and concrete. That's a visceral sense. It feels real. And it feels to be located. It feels like it's oriented bodily, perhaps. Energetically, it feels to be wound up in a body. And then a body becomes a thing. So that's how the story grows, really, is that there's something called me, and it's located in a human vessel. And again, there's no substance to that. And what also seems to come about that is other certain misperceptions. So the misperception of individuality, that this body actually belongs to someone, that there's actually someone inhabiting a human body, and they are this kind of person, or they are that kind of person. They adopt identities, and that would be a bit like the debris getting sucked into a tornado, a vortex made of essentially nothing, and the storytelling seems to grow out of that, just like dust and debris scattered around, no substance there, but identities seem to be really, really important and meaningful and serious and real and, you know, substantial. Yeah. And autonomy would be another one. So it seems like energetically there's this whirlwind, perhaps felt and attached to a human body, such a thing as a human body, and that's actually autonomously located in the brain or the nervous system, and that it drives the body. It actually chooses to move, chooses to speak, chooses to think, chooses how to behave. And with the identity, it seems all very like a personalized situation. And then, perhaps, meaning and purpose, you know, stories about my life, who I am, what I am, how I should be, the society and the cultural, societal conditioning that I grow up with as a this kind of person or a that kind of person. And then suddenly it seems like there's this whole infrastructure called me and my life, and how I should be, and who I should be, and what I should do. And all of it actually revolves around nothing. There's nothing actually at the center of that vortex. It's made of nothing. There's absolutely no substance there. It's not even happening. It's extraordinary that all of that could seem so viscerally real, and yet there's nothing there. There's nothing there. It's unreal. Completely unreal. But nevertheless, there can seem to be a setting in of a sort of dis-ease and a sense of lack. Like something's lacking here. There's some kind of existential burden that someone seems to be suffering, and out of that grows seeking. looking for better experiences, looking for wholeness in a thing, a person, a place, a substance, an object, a possession, a state of mind. There's all of this, these things on offer, it would seem, in the objectified world which I'm distant from, and I go towards them to give me a sense of fulfillment. And I try and I try and I try harder. Yeah. And maybe it's a materialistic search for a while, or maybe it's a spiritual one, a religious one, a philosophical one, a psychological one, an existential one, a shamanic one, therapeutic. It's so many directions. It's like a buffet. The world, the objectified world, is a buffet for my senses and my gratification and glorification. But I never really find what I'm actually truly longing for, because all the time I'm seeking for it, it seems to be a thing in front of me that just illusorily confirms the subject-object paradigm, and that is samsara. It is the suffering of feeling separate and located and distant. Really, actually, the absolute, which is what's longed for, is not separate, it's not distant, it's not anything other than this, it's not anything other than what's naturally, ordinarily, and simply appearing to happen. Every time there's a looking for it, in a way, it's overlooking it. It's overlooking it by feeling like it's somewhere else, or somewhen else, or in someone else, or in something else. But that's just a kind of grabbing, really. And there's a kind of anticipatory nature about that too. It's anticipating something. This anticipatory energy of what's next, or what will be. But again, what will be is continuity, and continuity is fundamentally part of that illusory, cyclic, cosmically existential, illusory nothingness. So that treadmill that I, the separate self dream, run on is just running around with no one at the centre of it, no one driving any of that. It's just going round and round in a cyclic loop, an artificial reality. And it's always feeling like something's going to happen. This is going to go somewhere. But it never gets anywhere. It never gets anywhere because there is nowhere to go or get to. There's nothing to change, there's nothing to fix, there's nothing to cure, there's nothing to solve. Nothing is broken, no one is ill, no one is distant or separate from this immediacy. It's already total. And in that apparent exposure can seem like a brick wall, really. A brick wall energy that doesn't really meet the criteria or the demands or the requests of that seeking energy. It doesn't give it a direction, it doesn't give it hope, it doesn't give it a sense that it's actually going to get somewhere else, because it's just pointing out, no, this is home, this is already home. And there can be apparent resting in that, a basking, a bathing in an unknowable wonder, childlike wonder, that this is it. It never needed anyone's worship, it never needed any devotion, it never needed that not to happen either. So any meditations or retreats or playful energies of wanting this or going there, it's just freely appearing. But it never gets anywhere, that's all. It never gets anywhere. Not absolutely, no. Where would we go? This is already home. So we can talk around that, and we can have a bit of a dialogue and a play with what comes up for people in inverted commas. But there are no people to actually figure this out. No one figures it out. This didn't figure it out. Never anyone ever figures it. There's nothing to figure out. This isn't a jigsaw puzzle. This isn't a cosmic, puzzle to solve. It's just the simplicity. I mean, it's far too simple for comprehension or conceptualization. It just can't be navigated. It can't be negotiated with. There's no transaction. There's nothing to exchange. There's no one to be on the receiving end of this so-called message. It's just the timeless uttering that this is already equanimously and unconditionally home, whatever appears to be happening. And so in that I would have to, I'm afraid, refute even the ideal that a self or centered felt contraction could actually disappear, because that too is a story of progression towards an imagined destination. And yes, it can seem like that's what's appearing. Energetically, it can seem like something is actually waxing or waning or fading. But the idea that that's going to happen in time, that's an illusion. Yeah. There's nothing to wait for. There's nothing to change. Not without continuity. It's already over. Yeah. Rock and roll. Rock and roll.
I love your skull necklace.
Oh. It's not serious. Yeah, it's not serious. The play can appear to take itself seriously. It can appear to take itself very seriously, but really it's all the cosmic joke that no one finds funny. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just curious, how did this sort of come about for you? I think I remember some of your story. You were a spiritual seeker for a while. You saw Tony Parsons.
Yeah.
Was that towards the end?
It was the end of everything, apparently. The storyline of Alexis being a separate person, which seemed very important, and even telling it might sound like something, significant or important, which obviously it isn't. But there was a storyline and this is the storyline, that it seemed like there was someone, and that they did meditations and Buddhism and yoga, tantra, kriyas, studied, read books, and then went from teacher to teacher, like stepping stone to stepping stone, jump ship, find this one, get that guru, what's their name, study this practice, take that initiation, and then I jumped onto one stepping stone called Tony, but that actually wasn't anything there, and that's when fell through. Yeah, didn't land on anything. Yeah, and in that was just a complete dynamic, timeless, compassionate exposure that what was longed for this entire time was what is already. But it doesn't leave a paddle for a dream which wants to steer in a direction. Yeah, it was the one seeming place in which there was no direction given. And at first that may have seemed quite confusing or upsetting even, but actually it was complete compassionate exposure that this is it. You're looking for what is already. Yeah, but you're too invested in the what's next. You're too invested in the conditioned state that you think you can bring about through your own doing. But in the exposure that there's no one running that show, and that the absolute can't be moved towards or away from. It's just so wide open, and no one can sustain that or withstand that. Yeah, so it leaves no one really. It leaves no one behind. It actually exposes there already isn't someone. There already isn't a person. Yeah. Yeah. And it's undeniable, and yet it can't be seen by that which is trying in its dream of triership. It can't see immediacy, but it's undeniable, as though it energetically is palpable, and it's energetically undeniable that there's no center, that there's no self, there's no awareness, there's no one, no space, no time, no control, just this. Yeah. Yeah. Total liberation, but not for someone. Yeah.
And how did that change your personality or tendencies?
I mean, it just is normalcy, I would suggest.
Okay.
The things just, the neurosis of being a person, if I could somewhat provocatively call it that, these neurotic characteristics of seeking and wanting something to change or be better, to improve or impress, etc. It just kind of goes out the window, and then this is normalcy. Characteristics, preferences, whatever's showing up is just what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Everything is kind of unconditionally allowed to just be as it is. Yeah. 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 Have you discovered this before with?
No, I went to see Tony Parsons, and I do think he has. I also feel it with you, this energy field that's quite relaxing. Yeah, it's interesting.
There's something, I think there's something very relieving in the appearance of it. It's nothing to do with a speaker, I would suggest, because there isn't such a thing as a speaker to facilitate something called resonance. But it's as though there's no intention, there's no agenda for anyone to change or become anything or unbecome anything. Nothing is required. There's no expectations, and there's it's kind of jarring, because everywhere I go as a person, I'm showing up with expectations and an agenda to get somewhere, even if it's to go to the pub, right? If I a person, I'm going to the pub, I'm going there to get something, and in this is a not getting anything. And that can seem quite disorienting to that energy, but at the same time it can seem very relieving, because nothing is required. Yeah. There's no expectation for anything to be a certain way. Yeah. And that seems to be a relief, an existential cosmic relief.
So there's no restlessness?
Not an existential restlessness. Okay. Yeah, that kind of existential restlessness of subtly or grossly wanting something to happen, needing something to happen. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, it's all very intriguing. I am intrigued. I guess a lot's going around my head so much.
Yeah, it's quite something to intro. You know, like there's quite a lot there to take in.
So the first thing, it was really when you said about the emptiness, the nothingness, and I guess for me was a question around love. Where does love feature, if it does, in what you're saying? So if I could start with that.
Yeah, so unconditional love is all there is. And that's the good, the bad and the ugly. It's the beautiful as well. It's unpolarized, because the word unconditional, in the way we're really talking about it, means unconditional. It means absolute, and that is the absence of separation, and separation is an illusion. So unconditional love, it's the total, it's the whole, it's the embrace that everything is this, everything is absolutely this. But that's not a nice kind of love that I want, that I could have, that I could be knowing about or owning. It's the you know, the falling away, which of course sounds like a process, it can't not do, but the apparent radical revolutionary collapsing of separate structures that aren't happening. It's undeniable that this is unconditional love. Yeah. It's what I always longed for, but I couldn't ever know it because I felt separate from it. A bit like when I get severed from my mother, when the umbilical cord snips. It's kind of like, that's a very symbolic image of me feeling separate from the whole, and then suddenly I'm not suggesting that the umbilical cord snipping is the birth of personhood. I'm using it as a metaphor, but it's like when that cosmic umbilical cord is snipped, suddenly I feel like a subject and my mother feels like an object, and then from then on I long for love, but I search for it in things separate from me. But unconditional love, the way I'm talking about it, is the absence of separation. Yeah. So I long to come home to that always.
So I guess the other place I was thinking is how we are incarnate, as I would at the moment imagine, in this body, and we have a physical and a metaphysical. And what you're saying, I completely compute into the metaphysical, and it's actually very calming and relaxing to hear that. And yet I do myself inhabit this body, which energetically I could have, and I believe I could have, an umbilical cord from my belly to Mother Earth. Yeah. So there's that holding with the cosmic whole, if you like. But I guess what I'm trying to say is it's that sense of, well, I guess what I was hearing is, what's the point? Even in wonder and awe, even enjoying a golden eagle or watching a dolphin going through this. We're all part of the whole energetically. That meta energy connects us all. But on the physical plane, we have separated to have an experience in time and space, which is all an illusion. I totally see that. I get that. But they're kind of coexisting.
The absolute and the relative are one, yes.
Yeah, that's how I sort of see that. So in that place there is a sense of evolution, but yes, I agree with you. I mean, and it's again reassuring to hear from that place of wholeness, and yet from that place of wholeness things become, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah.
It's like an enhancer rather than I need that to be better. It's like, how do I enhance this wholeness?
Well, wholeness in the absolute sense can't be improved or worsened because it's total. But in the appearance, there can be healing, and there can be pain. There can be trauma. There can be, remedies, and there can be looking after people and care and all those things. Yeah. And that's okay. It's what happens naturally, but there isn't actually a separate self in there that orchestrates and composes that. Yeah. So the energy of this an absolute exposure, and in that can seem to be an openness, a receptivity, and yeah, then the body is apparently allowed to run its thing. It does its motions, it has its preferences, it goes to work and looks after people, does what it does. Yeah.
And so that is accommodated in what you're saying?
Well, they're just appearances, really, and it's free to appear that way. Yeah.
So likes and dislikes, even food. I mean, often
totally.
Ghosts say that's the bummer of being a spirit. You can't eat chocolate.
Well, you know, chocolate or not.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it really is so free to be as it is. Yeah. It doesn't have to, like, there's this kind of, I mean, I don't know if this will resonate with you, but when it seems like there's a personal energy, it feels like I have to get this right. I have to get this right. I have to get life right, and it can feel very burdensome. And you know, there can be a real pressure about that energy, feeling like I have to get this right, and I might get it wrong, and then that can be a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, and yeah, very uncomfortable. But it doesn't have to be that way. It can just be as it wants to be. You know, the preferences are free to be themselves, and that, you know, there might still be, you know, like watching the sugar intake, for example, or alcohol intake, just for the simple nurturing of an organism. But maybe there's also the enjoyment of certain substances and whatnot. Yeah.
So I will pass this on, but just to
carry on.
So that sense of where I was checking in about the meta with the metaphysical and the physical, you were saying yes, there is a coexistence of within the whole. That is a reality.
I think it's more like seeing it in two different ways, because there aren't actually two separate realities.
No.
There's only the natural reality, the absolute, the whole, the total, and that can appear as this. It can appear as bodies sitting in a room, it can appear as conversations and whatnot, but there isn't actually two separate realities and a coexisting or an interdepending of them. It's all the absolute, and even a relative dream of there being separate things happening, separate people happening, is that too. Yeah.
So in that whole, as I've, you know, in different readings I've read myself, you know, that sense for the oneness to experience him, it, herself, their self, needs to be broken down to have that sense of even just that wonder of what it is to be a part of that whole, if you like, to know itself. It's like you have to sort of. So I'm just curious about that.
Yeah. So in the appearance of it, it seems like there's no. I mean, when a baby is born, so from the start of the story, baby is born. There's just total wonder, childlike wonder. There's no one in that body, no self, just total stark wonder. It's not located. There's just pure sensational vibrancy, wide open, which is why people, I would suggest, love babies so much, because their eyes are wide open, they're bright, it's like everything is brand new and fresh, total wonder. Nothing is known, nothing is labelled, nothing is defined or objectified. And then apparently in the storyline, after some time, you know, there seems to be an emergence of a felt sense of a centre, and in that you would perhaps call it incarnation, and it seems like then that's the umbilical cord, that there's a me in here and a mother out there. Suddenly, mother is my mother. She is known by me, and then this creates this illusion of distance and the objectified world at large. Well, then all sound, sights, textures, tastes, smells, even thoughts and feelings seem to be objects. They seem to be things known by a centre. And that would perhaps, I guess the spiritual traditions call it oneness experiencing itself through the dream of separation. And when I say the dream of separation, I really mean it with no negative or positive connotations. It's just neutrally what's seeming to appear. And in that there can be a disturbance, and there can be a sense that there's something lacking, something's incomplete. And that's the dream of individuality and separation, continuity, autonomy and location, all seeming to appear. And energetically, in the same way it illusorily seems to set in, it can seem to illusorily set out. And the illusory, and I use the word illusory with extra emphasis because it's completely unreal, no substance there, not really happening. It's just that there's no one there, it's kind of a reset to the default setting, the default mode where the body was just as it was as a baby. And then there's no sense that there's a me in here and a you over there, or a distance between two separate bodies, knowing each other, relating to each other, conversing with each other. It's all reduced and expanded to immediacy. So it's all of the same source. It's all of the same thisness, total. There's no sense that anything is more or less therefore. So there's no sense that sitting in a room in Brighton is more or less sacred than sitting in the bar, or sitting in an ashram, or wherever. Yeah, holding a microphone, sensations of air on the skin, sitting on a chair. It's all this. It's all equanimously this. Yeah. Yeah.
And in that place, people can express art, music.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, creative energies just playfully expressing themselves. Yeah.
So there's a place for becoming in some capacity as people develop that experiential self.
Well, becoming is in a way the illusion of continuity, yeah. It lives in the reality of things happening in time.
Sure.
Yeah. Like things are happening and they're happening sequentially. And that would be the relative realm of becoming and continuity, yeah. So immediacy is unknowable, and it's nothing. But that nothing is vibrantly all. It's vibrantly everything. Yeah.
Which is the smorgasbord of everything. Is that the smorgasbord? So it's kind of like it's the all of everything of what.
Yeah. The unknowable all. Yeah. Yeah.
There's definitely more, but I will pass on.
Yeah, no worries. We've got time apparently, even though there's no time.
I'm always confused why people call it nothing.
Yes.
Like, what is that referring to?
It's referring to nothing as it happens. Yeah. I'm just playing. It's, I get how the word nothing is so incomprehensible. I mean, I wouldn't say it's misleading because it's not actually leading anything anywhere. There isn't a thing to be described, to be located, and nothing. It really means that there aren't things, that there aren't actually things happening, because continuity is really, it's a big deal to a dream. It's like so required for me, the dream of separation. If there's no continuity, and there already isn't, then there's no me, there's no one, and there are no things happening. Because this appearance doesn't have a before. It doesn't have 13.7 billion years prior to it, to when the universe came into apparent existence. It doesn't even have a yesterday, or even 5 seconds ago. The only way in which that would appear is as a memory, which is this immediacy, vitally being a memory. So a dream of a subject seems to imagine that there's timeline, like I'm watching this reality happen continuously. I'm watching changes happen, I'm watching movement happen, or stillness happen. I'm watching change, and it just breeds this illusion of things happening. But there isn't actually things happening. There aren't separate bodies and separate chairs and separate microphones and separate words. There aren't separate things, and there aren't inseparable things. It's all totally empty, which is vibrant, vibrantly empty. There's no edge of the skin where the atmosphere ends and the body begins. There's no edge. It's an illusion. Yeah.
So it's like a continuity of colours and shapes.
In a dream, it seems like that. Yeah, it seems like there's momentum. It's as though when it seems like someone's aware that there's something here that's aware, it seems like something's happening, that there's something happening, and that awareness is aware of something happening. But that echo is charged with nothing. There's nothing, it's unreal. It's like a psychosomatic misperception of this reality. And as though the dream of awareness, the dream of distance itself is not happening, then it's just, there's no things. There are no things. There's no self to which things are happening to or in front of. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't really make sense to a conditioned mind which feels it like is objectifying, right? Because objectifying makes this solid. It's solid. Yep, this is solid. Even the air is solid. It's like everything is knowable. Yeah. Yeah.
But does it change the sensory perception of things? Do you see things differently than before?
Well, before and after is in the landscape of separation, isn't it? Because all we're ever finding is what appears to be happening. And then we could say, well, what about, 49 minutes ago or 45 minutes ago, however many minutes ago, when people started walking in the room, and that's this being 45 minutes ago when everyone was walking in the room. Yeah. Yeah.
But the room looks the same for you.
But there's no sameness. There's no sameness. I know. It's pedantic as hell, I know. Yeah, but there's no sameness or difference, you see. It's the discernment, it's the comparison and the distinction. This is different, this is the same. But it's all just immediately this. It's unabstracted. So there's just this. Being
and
whatever.
This has always been like this.
Always is continuity as well.
I'm trying to ask it in a way that makes sense. Yeah. When you had a separate self walking through the world versus now where there's no self, is there any perceptual changes in the world that you inhabited?
Okay.
Or
yeah,
I know that it's a thought and an idea.
All right, so in the story there would be saying of this is different and this is the same, right? So in the story that can be said, but the story is also the dream that there's befores and afters. So it doesn't actually accurately compute that once upon a time there was a centre and now there isn't, because continuity is the centre. It is the dream of there being a centre as well. If the sense of continuity falls apart, then there's no sense that continuity ever happened, because happened is continuity.
I understand.
Everything kind of implodes into immediacy. Then there's no sense that a before and an after is actually a reality. However, just have to say that disclaimer.
Yes, I understand.
But in the before and after, it seems like there's viscerally charged a compass. I am here, like the orange little figure on Google Maps. I'm there. That's where I am, I'm located, yeah. And it feels like that's viscerally wound up in a body. Yeah, I'm here. I'm not like 5 inches that way or this way. I'm here. I feel to be here. And it's felt that way, it's perceived that way, it's viscerally embodied that way. And yeah, that apparently dissolves. Yeah, so there's no sense of a here. There's the concept of a here, but it's not felt as a reality.
So you don't feel like you're looking out of your eyes
Yeah,
at
that
the
you
world.
that could look out of the eyes is not there.
So you're just seeing more of just everything.
There's just seeing.
Just seeing.
Yeah. So there's no you to be seeing, and there's no you to be seen. There's just seeing appearing. So center, which would say I'm here seeing out of these eyes, and hearing out of these ears, etc.
Okay.
That you, that centered you, is not there, and then it's just centerless. Everything is immediacy. Everything is distancelessly this.
That's cool.
No more here or there. No. Yeah, it's spaceless, and it's timeless as well, because I'm oriented in the now, right? So I'm oriented here. I feel to be here. I'm not 5 meters over there or there, but I'm also not 5 seconds from now. I'm not 5 seconds ago, and I'm not 5 seconds ahead. I'm now. That's also viscerally charged, energetically. It seems like I'm located now. That's my orientation in time. And that too is not sensed as a reality. Memories, ideas, thoughts can still appear, but they're not located, and they don't belong to anything. And autonomy as well. So there's 4, I often say there's 4 main perceptions which seem to happen in the dream. Space, time, autonomy as well.
Yeah. Is that like will?
Yeah.
Or something else?
It would be will, yeah. It would be a felt sense that I am moving my arm right now.
Okay.
Like someone is actually moving their arm up and down. Like a puppet and a puppeteer. That is completely gone. Undeniably. And I say that without applying any specialness or significance at all. But it is undeniable. No one lifts their hand. No one speaks their words. No one thinks their thoughts. They just happen. Energetically and effortlessly. And the last one, awareness. The sense that someone is here, aware of what's happening there.
Okay.
And those 4 just die. Just illusorily die. They're misperceptions of this reality, natural reality. Because space, time, autonomy and awareness all demand separation. Space demands here and there, time demands now and then, autonomy demands driver and vehicle, awareness demands subject and object. All of those are dualistic paradigms which die with the dream of separation. All that's left, immediacy.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
So, kind of coming back to what I was saying before, for me it's like the divine paradox. So you've got everything is the whole, that meta place, as you're saying. You call it nothingness, and you also call it that unconditional love. Do you coincide those words together, or do you prefer one?
I would say they're synonyms. Obviously, they're not describing anything, but they are, they are words that seem to come up around this. Yeah.
I think for me, unconditional love describes something more than nothingness. I will say that.
It's nothing and everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Totally nothing and everything. I mean, I know that nothing to a conditioned mind will sound like some bleak, black, nihilistic void of empty space where there are no, it's not like a big, black, empty space. It's this. It's this.
But in terms of this duality, so can't there be that paradox of everything's the whole, but within the whole are loads of component parts? And so it's kind of here, there and everywhere. So it's not duality, it's that there's a triad in that, because you can't have you and me without the space holding it, of which at some point I end and you start, whatever that is.
Right.
And it's sort of that capacity to hold both realities, as in we are all connected, having these experiences. I guess that's, which is seemingly similar to what you're saying, but also not what you're saying, because you will say there is that.
I see what you're saying.
Okay.
And a metaphor came up yesterday.
Yeah.
You might remember it. You might remember the metaphor. Who was it that said they watched yesterday's video? It was both of you, wasn't it? A metaphor came up yesterday of a jigsaw puzzle and the picture on the box, right?
Yeah.
So I thought this was quite nice. So the absolute and the relative are one, right?
Yeah.
And the absolute would be the picture you get on the box of a jigsaw puzzle. It's not made of pieces, it's just one picture. It's one inseparable whole.
Yeah.
And there's nothing seeing it as a bit here and a bit there. But when you take the box off, you've got like 1,000 separate pieces, and that would be the relative. But the relative is the picture, but it's just illusorily made of loads and loads of different bits, like the corners and the edge pieces and the bits in the middle, and it's all seemed to be fragmented, and that would be the relative way of seeing this reality, like a separate lamp, microphone, camera, floor, ceiling, windows, etc., bodies. It's like it's seeing separate things take place in a separate relativistic reality. That would be the jigsaw puzzle. But as though you put all of the... Oops, I'm muted. No. As though you put all of the pieces back together, you see the picture, but it still maybe looks like the picture is made of like 1,000 different pieces. But that's the illusion, basically. The illusion is that there are separate pieces joining up together, which would then come to theories like codependency, interdependency, dependent origination, or what was the other way of putting it? Co-arising, yeah, those kinds of things, you know. And yeah, really, that's an illusion. It's how it seems to be. When it feels energetically like there's a location, then it seems like everything is located, and that's the relative way of seeing this reality. And as though energetically that relative, separate, centered, experiential thing is not there, it isn't sensed that way, basically. Yeah. But naturally everything still kind of is the way it is. So, as you know, conversing, for example, and going to cafes, reading books, or doing whatever, you know, it's like everything is the same, and yet everything is totally radically different. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so there is that place of, and in that difference, there's a beingness of experiencing that. I mean, I guess the question is, being in your body, what's your experience of being and enjoying being in your body, as opposed to noticing times when you're less enjoying, even if it's an illusion, but there's still a noticing of an experience.
Yeah, that's gone. That's gone.
Right.
Yeah. So everything is simply what it is. Yeah. There's no sense that anyone is living in a body anymore. There's no sense that anyone is embodied. But body is bodying, and it's apparently, I'm only speaking, this is only speaking for this, but it's more relaxed. Yeah. Okay. And it still does yoga and likes to stretch and does cardio exercise from time to time, and you know, goes for walks in nature.
Dances.
Oh yes, now we're talking. Dances, oh that one for sure. Yeah, and it tends to take care of itself. It just isn't swayed, it's not under the sway of an illusion that someone's there experiencing that. Well then it's more natural, it feels very natural in an apparent contrast or comparison. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have more, but I'm just...
Yeah, yeah. What I could say is that, you know, the jigsaw puzzle, the relative landscape, it is a world of complexity, artificiality, and standing out. Like things exist, they stand out and they stand apart from each other. And as though that is not there, seen through by nothing, it's all just reduced to ordinary, natural, simple. The simplicity of being without someone being. The naturalness of sitting, and nothing needs to happen. This isn't going anywhere. No one's getting enlightened. There's just sitting. It's totally natural. It's totally ordinary, and it's totally simple. Yeah. But a world conjures up a drama of complexity, which is totally free. Like, it's totally free to appear like that too. Yeah. But no one's orchestrating, no one's composing it, no one's making it a certain way. It's just naturally, organically, freshly being what it is. Yeah.
So I think this is what I imagine death to be like.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
like kind of up for the journey to get, like, okay.
Yeah.
I will be in that meta realm, because I won't be one of the jigsaw puzzles, even if it's an illusion.
Yeah, absence, yeah.
That. So,
yeah.
And so I guess for me, in part of my journey of non-ness, to use your terms, is for me it's about learning about those relationships. So whether it's learning about the relationship, which we very much lost in this part of the world, of connection, relationship with the natural realm, that from living beings, whether you want to call them the rivers, the springs, the streams, all of it, the whole gamut of an aliveness, and that relationship, which actually really excites me. And that is in a sort of awakening, because that's been totally cut off in this, in the divisive, certainly the Western world. And I know it's an illusion, what you're saying, but it's the experience I've grown from to get where I am, if you like. So yeah, I guess that's what I get excited by is that aliveness of all things. And I sort of trying to figure out where that fits in with what you're saying, because I'm hearing you in a sort of non-ness, of no aliveness and a nothingness.
It's not deadness. I mean,
No.
Kenneth sometimes uses the word aliveness, and I quite like that. I somehow or other I prefer the word vibrancy, but it's not any better or worse.
Okay.
But I like to call it the void of vibrancy, because it's an oxymoron. Void, for a mind that feels separate and polarized, here's void and it thinks of something bleak often, like something dark and disparate, like not very nice, maybe quite negative, nihilistic. But it's vibrant void. It's vibrant. It's totally. I mean, the curtains are vibrant. Yeah, the carpet and the rugs, it's like vibrancy. Yeah, it's vibrancy all over. Everything is that vibrancy. Yeah, but it's not discernible, because I really mean everything is that vibrancy. Decay, dying, death, dead bodies, and it's all vibrancy. Yeah.
But in that vibrancy, isn't there? Since you use that word, understand things to be moving at a different vibration, which gives that illusion of separation.
Yeah.
But we are all connected, but things are vibrating at a different rate. So a stone perceivably looks like it's doing nothing, but it's vibrating just at a very different frequency to a hummingbird. But that we are all connected in the great whole, yes. But there are these different vibrations, so that we can. That's the question, really. Well, I have a sense of that, but
it's looking for a meaning, it would seem.
Well, it
seems to be looking for a purpose or something.
A kind of purpose of becoming. There is. We are unfolding a story. I know you were talking about the story, and part of that story is the fact that we have forgotten where we come from, certainly in this part of the world, and cut off everything that you're talking about. But that sense of remembering, I mean, this is part of that, I would imagine, is you are.
I think that the return, the illusory return, when it seems like a centre is falling away, is a kind of familiarity, yeah?
Right.
But the problem is that it's not objectified, it can't be known, because the centre wants and needs to know. It wants to stand apart from the appearance, to label it, to name it, to define it, to objectify it, and that is a dependency in a way. But an apparent return, it is unknowable. No one is there to know that, and yet there's a familiarity about it, because that's how everybody was born in the natural reality, as the natural reality. The natural reality of there just being breathing and sitting.
But could I just say, why does it have to be objectified? Why can't they all be subjects of the whole with gifts?
Well, it doesn't have to be any certain way. It's just that subject and object are actually two sides of the same coin, in the same way night and day are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
You can't really have one without the other.
Absolutely.
If there was only ever nighttime, then nighttime wouldn't exist, because it's all there is. Yeah. So it's the same with life and death. Like, you can't have one without the other. You can't have and therefore you can't have subject without an object. So they depend on each other. That's two separate things, and yet they're not really separate. It's an illusory paradox. So what is blown out, which is what the word nirvana means, just fun fact. What is blown out is subject and object as two separate things, and then there's only this. There's only immediacy, dancing freely as sensation and vibration, timelessly so. Yeah. And that is a wonder in a way. It's childlike wonder. And then there's just this. But there's no sense that it needs to go anywhere or become anything. There's still, of course, like if there's pain and suffering and agony, then there tends to be a response to that on a relative practical situation level, right?
Yeah.
But there's no sense that it needs to be any more or less anything, because there's no sense of becoming and changing and going. That progression energy of trying to get more. It's not required, it's not necessary. But those stories may appear to happen for some bodies, and that's I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Yeah. It's all the play. It's all the play. Leela.
So did you lose belief systems after this, or?
It was divine despair, yeah.
Okay.
Every imagined belief system kind of crumbled apart, yeah. Like sand slipping through the fingers, yeah. Ideologies, views and values about being of this kind of person or that kind of person, how we as a species should be, it all hopelessly fell apart, yeah. It's liberating. Totally liberating, yeah.
And does that mean that your mind is quieter? Does that have an effect on the mind?
Apparently so. I mean, it is a bit objectifiable or subjectifiable putting it like that, but that whole sort of neurotic storytelling energy and the internal dialogue constantly yapping away at itself, should and shouldn'ts and all that stuff, it certainly seems to die down, yes. Yeah.
Did that die down in the lead up or afterwards?
It's hard to recall really. It's a bit blurry because continuity, as I knew it, was falling apart. But yeah, I mean, I was quite hardcore into yoga and self-inquiry and awareness of awareness and all that stuff. Seemed really important. And quieting down the mind seemed like really like that was the answer, and what was revealed was actually no thought has ever stepped in the way of this appearance. Yeah, and then it's just like, well, thoughts can just thought. They can just think away. They don't need to be suppressed, ignored, avoided, or neglected. Neither do they need to be acknowledged, validated, or brought into the light. They can just be what they are. Sensations and thoughts can just be as they are. They don't need anything. They're just what they are. Yeah. And because no one's dealing with them or trying to do something about them, they just tend to kind of quiet down, because no one's there listening, no one's there talking to them. They just appear or they don't. And that's why I say it's totally natural and normal. There's nothing special about that. It's not some kind of divine samadhi-like state that we might have imagined it to be when we were sincerely following gurus and yogis, which some of us might still do, and fair enough, nothing wrong with it, but it's just normalcy. Yeah, it's normalcy.
In what you've just said, I'm struck by, and I'm wondering how you would respond to this, is the thought in my head was, oh shit, it must be really nice to feel so sure and certain, and yet where does that fit in non-duality?
So,
or maybe you're not.
yeah, completely unknowable. I mean, this is a bit like a child or a baby just babbling. Yeah. I'm just a babbling, gibberish talking baby, yeah. With no value behind the words whatsoever. I mean, sometimes it's fun to make fun of oneself, even though there isn't a self to do that. Yeah, it seems like there's no position to take a stand with what's being said, really. So there's no authority. It's not like I'm sitting here and I know better than anyone else. That's definitely not true. It's nonsense. And there's no sense that there's a position to be doubtful or certain. Like for these words to be married up with conviction would seem to demand a person to stand behind them. But they're just words outpouring, like everything else. Yeah. They seem to maybe look like they're married up with a great deal of conviction, but I think the reason that is because they don't come from a position of knowing. They don't come from a filtered view of someone being there to know that, to be certain or doubtful about it. They just speak themselves. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's playful. I think it's playful.
But isn't that then a thing, if it's playful? So where does that leave non-playful?
If it's polarised, then it's dualistic, yeah. But I mean play in the unconditional sense, really. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Everything is the divine play. Leela. And Leela can appear to be very serious and important. Can appear as monarchs and, kings and queens and politicians and religious figures. Can also appear as clowns and jokers and whatnot.
So where's that word come from? I don't know that word.
Leela.
Yeah.
Oh, it's. I think it's in reference to the Hindu tradition. That this is just a play, a divine cosmic play, not for any reason or purpose behind it. It's not going anywhere. It's not coming from anywhere. It's just the total. Yeah. It's a bit of a metaphorical way, like it's a bit of a poetically metaphorical way of talking about this empty appearance. Yeah, it kind of takes the weight out of it, like this is supposed to be this way, or it should, or it's supposed to, be something or do something. Yeah, yeah. In a story, that would have been an apparent Alexis-ism of this is supposed to be serious. Yeah. Alexis took herself very seriously.
So it's like a divine play with no script.
Right.
Improv.
Yeah. It's a jazz song. Yeah.
You say anarchy quite a lot.
I do like the word anarchy, yeah.
So does this remind you of childhood at all? Do you think
Yeah,
that
it
this
does.
is what children experience?
Oh, for sure. I mean, they are. Well, I mean, up until a point, it seems for
Yeah.
many children, it's like just, yeah.
That's how I see them.
Yeah, when they're in the playground, they're not sort of existentially questioning why they're building, you know, whatever they're building or doing what they're doing. Yeah, it's effortless. It's just effortless. Yeah. Yeah.
But could it not be effortlessly singular in as much as they might effortlessly, somebody be playing in a sandpit, somebody be kicking a ball, somebody doing a handstand or a cartwheel, in that singularity of expression, they're enjoying their body effortlessly.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is a self, that manifested self that is, they're not all doing handstands.
No.
So there is something different between them that that is energetically pulled to do a handstand or play hopscotch or something.
I mean, it would be a story to say that there are different people with different, you know, preferences, different expressions, etc. But in the appearance of it, yeah, that just appears to be as it appears to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can that be? Is that a nice thing? Is that?
I don't think it has to be nice or not nice.
Okay.
It just is what it is.
It's a thing.
Yeah. Handstands or playing music or it's, or you know, Lego or Barbie or whatever. Yeah, it's just
But it's a thing.
a thing.
Yeah.
What do we mean by a thing?
Well, it's a showing up in something.
I mean, it's the entire appearance being play or handstand or
play.
hopscotch. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the entire appearance is just being that. Yeah. You two are really going for it.
Everybody else wants mine.
I love it.
Tag team.
Yeah. Tag team. Yeah. Okay. What do you do when it's tagged? Do you have to like high five or something?
Oh, it's really good. Oh, here it is. Could this happen and is there a way that this could happen and you wouldn't be aware of it?
Totally.
Or is it quite obvious? Because it's obviously everything is already as it is.
Yeah, that's the great.
Could you sort of slide into this
Sure.
without
Slide in. Yeah.
without realizing?
Yeah, for sure. Because that's the great predicament for a cyclic illusory energy, is it won't be there to notice. In the same way, you won't know when you fell asleep. You're anticipating sleep that's going to happen, but as though deep dreamless sleep sets into the nervous system, there isn't a noticing of it. It's the absence of the awareness light bulb. Well, then that's not noticed, yeah. However, the body seems to report it still. It still seems like there's a body in the appearance of it. There's bodies talking, saying there's no one and there's no this and whatnot. But it's not. There's not someone there knowing that. Yeah, which doesn't really make much sense to the way in which it seems to be perceived. Yeah, because it's on the lookout for change, which again is its reality of continuity. It's on the lookout for a change in perception. And it could be so subtle, so quick, or gradual, in its own realm of happenings, gradual, sudden. But it won't be there. Yeah, it won't be there. It's not there already. I will just say, apparently, apparently glimpses seem to be quite stark. Like they're quite, the way in which, I don't know if you've heard glimpses talked about in this context, but it's talked about as quite a stark contrast in a change in perception, and that's like the light bulb went fully off, like from 100% to 0% in a flash. That's like that can seem very, very noticeable because it's such a contrast, such a dynamic shift. But it could also be very, very, very gradual and quiet.
I guess that my mind has wandered to the sort of concept of like the sacred masculine, the sacred feminine, and the spark of life that happens with the a baby being created, so to speak, which is a coming through, so to speak, from that wholeness. How I'm just kind of have a bit of a cartoon then of where that fits into, because there is two parts of those puzzles coming together to make that spark of creation, which there is, as I say, it's kind of one thing and another thing to create another thing.
Right.
Just what do you say about that? Really
Well, it's details of an appearance which is fundamentally empty and full.
Empty and full, did you say?
Yeah. And this, I know some people don't like the word divine, they find it a bit too spiritual or loaded with connotations of religiosity, but I don't have a problem with it, and I think everything is that. Everything is the divine.
Yeah,
and the divine can appear to be split. It can appear as a split, a yin and a yang, where feminine and masculine are born, two sides of the same coin, and there's a divine feminine and a divine masculine. But without the split, the great cosmic split, there's just the divine. Yeah.
But do you, in lots of teachings or what have you, that often they have different qualities, those sacred or divine energies, so that kind of receptive, magnetic, fecund energy of the female to the more dynamic whatever of the masculine, of which we all have those qualities because we all have those energies within us, but they're still different.
Yeah, I mean, what we're doing there is
energy.
what we're doing there is going into the rainbow, which is like an abstraction of white, radiant, inseparable light.
Yeah.
Right. I like to play with metaphors a lot, and the white, radiant light is unabstracted. It's completely inseparable. It's neither this nor that. Even to call it light would seem misleading, because that suggests that it lives in relation to darkness, and that's not what's meant. It's total, it's the absolute, it's unconditional. And the radiant light can seem to fragment into an array of colours, all different, all different qualities, and they all relate to each other, but they're separate from each other. And that is the unabstracted appearing to be abstracted.
And as I understand it, and I think I just want to check with you, we live in both. We're living in the white light, and we're living in the. I mean, again, the
relative and the absolute are one.
Yeah.
But a dream sees it as relativistic, and no dream, just absolute. Yeah, no discernment, nothing to distinguish from anything else, nothing to piece apart or piece together. Just wholeness, vibrant, void, total. It's all there is. Yeah. So we can talk about those, qualities of whatever but appears to be happening, but it only ever is that. It's just what appears to be happening. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's not more or less than anything else, yeah. But more and less would just be an abstraction or story, yeah. Oh, excuse me. The cosmic burp. Nothing special.
Nothing to see.
No one to receive.
I'd like to ask a personal question.
Anything you like.
Because I remember we spoke recently about sort of your gender identity and that sort of thing. And I was just curious about sort of that point on masculine and feminine. Just, if I'm right, the non-dual, the falling away, seemed to coincide with a sense of the appearance of a change.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering, is that just like a poetic coincidence? Or is
Yeah.
Is that okay to? Yeah.
Of course, you can ask anything you like. I'm an open book. Yeah. So it's tricky, isn't it? Identity seems to be. If we could use just playfully for a second the metaphor of Adam and Eve, the identity is the leaf that I wear over my body to cover my shame, which I think is mine. And my identity is something that I carry and hold, and it's very dear to me. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. There's nothing, wrong or right with identity or no identity, but yeah, it seems like when it's there, it seems very, very personal and very, very substantial and significant to someone. And those identities might change over time in the storyline. And the unqualified I am, as the spiritual teachers and teachings would say, is this energy which is actually not identified or identifiable at all. But the identities that seem to grow out of, cultural conditioning, society and whatnot, they take a million different forms, as we know all too well. And yeah, in the storyline of Alexis, it was quite a radical pendulum swinging kind of energy of going from this to that to this to that. And the gender situation was one of those, but there was so many, like being a vegan and then carnivore and then Buddhist and yogi and whatnot. And wonderfully, it just all falls apart. It just all falls apart. And that doesn't mean that anything has to change or anything has to stay the same. It's just freedom playing. Freedom playing. Freedom isn't an entity to do the playing. It's freedom immediately playing as bodies and bodying and whatever. It seems inaccurate to say this body is one thing or the other, because there isn't such a thing as a separate body, and there isn't such a thing as an entity incarnated in the body to be living in the right one or the wrong one, really. Like, it's just not like that. Yeah. Which can be quite a hard pill to swallow. If there's an investment in me and myself and what I own and what belongs to me. The whole gender thing that happened to this body was prior to the sense of separation falling apart. So it's quite ambiguous to suggest it might have gone differently. But there's no sense that it went wrong or right. It just happened as it happened. Yeah. But I like what you said about the poetic coincidence, because because this body is just a complete abundance of contradictions, and and it's just completely androgynous, like in different ways. Yeah, it's not pretending to be anything. It's just what it is. Yeah, and it's not pretending. It's not anything other than what it naturally is, and that is the way it is for everybody, actually. Yeah. There's no games to be played, and there's no games to relinquish. Yeah, and it's all the natural reality. Whatever appears to be happening is the natural reality, actually. It just might not seem like that. Yeah.
And that can include intimate relationships, sexual relationships, so that all can be in. It's just part of the vibrancy.
Yeah. So there's no filters. There's no game playing. I mean, the leaf has divinely fallen, so there's no pretenses. Yeah. And when I say pretenses, I don't mean that in some kind of negative, judgmental way. It's just the innocence seeming to have forgotten itself by becoming someone. Again, that's a highly poetic way of talking about it, but as though there's no one there, there's no one to relate to, and that is unconditional love. Yeah, so everything is purely, naturally and authentically what it is. Yeah, and there's an intimacy in that. There's an intimacy in the immediacy of it, and yet it's not personal, because there's no persona, which is where the word person derives from, right? Which means mask. Persona is the mask I wear upon myself, which is myself. I am the persona, I am the mask, pretending to be a person. And mask falls, yeah, it's completely, authentically and naturally what it is. No pretense. Yeah. Yeah.
Is there less of a need for relationships, like long-term relationships? Or
It's
does
not,
it change? How does it change your relationships with people?
It's not like there's a need or not a need. There's just the natural way the body is expressing itself and wants to be. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, we're talking about relationships on a purely, a level of there being two or more bodies interacting with each other, and it is abstractional to talk about it like that, because relationship really is actually needing two. In the ultimate sense, there's no relationship because there is no things and separate people to relate to each other. But yes, bodies interacting. There's interacting appearing to happen, you could say. It's the immediacy being that, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the existential disease that demands an other to relate to, and that kind of existential energy, which is kind of angsty, and it always sees the other as an object, which is quite. It might sound quite harsh to put it so bluntly, but the energy of being a person can't not do that, because everything it's seeing is an object, because it's the subject. So even the first relationship the body seems to have, which is almost always the mother becomes an object, and she's not seen as she naturally is, because she's objectified. But when I'm not there, subjectively seeing her as an object, then she's seen as she naturally is. And it would be the same with, romantic situations or friendship situations, close relatives and whatnot. even strangers and associates. They're seen as they naturally are, because they're not objectified. That doesn't mean that the body walks around like a saint and and just like sort of devoutly being nice to everyone. It's not like that, but there is a naturalness to it. Yeah.
So is that energy, the self energy, like a bit tragic for you now, to look at how people relate to each other? Is well, maybe not tragic. That's maybe a bit too intense.
I think it's just innocence. I would like to suggest it's just total innocence. Yeah, it's like the entire appearance has sort of pretended to be a child, a cosmic child who's lost in an infinite void, and it's looking around for its mother everywhere. Okay. Yeah, and it looks for it in people, it looks for it in substances, it looks for it in states of mind, and it looks for it in enlightenment. Yeah. And
so this seems like very complete.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally complete.
There's a lot of people talk about shadow work and these kind of things. Does that make any sense to you, or does that sort of drop away?
It does and it doesn't.
Okay.
I can see the appeal of it, and when it feels like there's someone, it feels like there's an investment in a better state, and a shadow work, trauma work, inner child work. It's like, yeah, that seems very appealing, because it seems like there's progress to be made, and there's dirt to shovel through, traumas to get through, and things to get past and by, and again, there's nothing wrong with this, but it's looking for something. It's looking for something which isn't really there. Yeah. There can seem to be a great storytelling energy about that cyclic existence, or existential and experiential center. It's like there's such a charge to the storytelling.
So when you get to this no place, you just, whatever you are, you just kind of remain as you are?
Remaining is continuity again, just so we know.
What am I trying to say?
Yeah, it's just what it is, yeah, but it just is what it is.
Is it kind of you just accept yourself fully?
Well, there's no one to do
self.
that. Yeah. There's no one to do that. It just is as it is. Yeah.
Okay.
It just is as it is. There's nothing to accept or resist. Yeah. There's no one to allow or not allow. Okay. It's just as it is. Yeah.
So there's no energy to change or transform?
Not really, but
that kind of goes away.
Yeah, but like projects and stuff can still happen.
Okay.
I mean, the body doesn't like to feel fat, for example, so it doesn't,
Practical things. Then.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it may take care of itself on a basic physiological and psychological level. Yeah. Yeah. And if it was trained to do yoga, for example, it may still do that because it just enjoys the sensation of stretching and flexibility and strength and whatnot else. Yeah. Yeah. It can seem like there's an energy that is negotiating with emotions and navigating emotions, and that it seems then there's like this huge emotional landscape which I'm having to navigate, and it can all seem deeply problematic, and the innocence of it is just is what it is. Yeah. Yeah.
And does this change your memory in any way because of the timelessness? Does memory change? I'm always curious. I have such a shit memory.
Really?
I don't want it to get any worse.
Yeah, I don't see a positive or negative correlation.
No? Okay. Interesting.
This memory seems to be quite good, but I don't think it got better or worse in the storyline, because even to say it got better or worse requires a memory to say that. And the sense of continuity dying away, it's ambiguous to say what actually changed and what really didn't, because it's going into abstraction about past, present and future.
Okay.
But what can be said is that memory is no longer objectified, and that's quite radical.
What do you mean by
Memory is not objectified, it's not known by someone, it's not known, it's not claimed, it's not located.
So when you remember things,
There's no one remembering. It's just remembering, appearing to happen. And there's a transience to it. Because when it seems like someone's there, and a memory is there, it seems like it's solid. It's a thing called a memory. There's no one there observing it, there's no solidity.
so it's like a dream.
It's dreamy, compared
okay.
to that which seemed so solid, yeah.
Do you still dream? at
Well,
night,
dreaming
or-
can appear,
Okay.
but the body doesn't seem to recall it very often. Yeah. But then again, it never really did. Not that much anyway. I used to have nightmares more often than it did now, apparently, in the story.
Oh.
Do you still enjoy stories? So I'm just thinking of mythologies and just great tales.
100%.
Okay.
100%, yeah. I'm reading 2 books at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what they are.
Yeah, so one's called Forged in Fire, and it's a fantasy about dragons and women who are going to ultimately rule the world. So that's quite fun. And the other one's called Blue Speedwell, by an author and very, very dear friend of mine called Tatiana. And that's about sex and relationships and sensuality and connection. Yeah, and it's lovely. Yeah, I recommend it. Yes, I recommend it.
Blue Speedwell,
Yes.
Forged in Fire.
Yeah, I recommend Blue Speedwell. Yeah.
Okay.
Available on Amazon.
Available on Amazon.
Blue Speedwell.
That's right.
I'll take a look.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
When was it published? Recently?
Gosh, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
I think it was 2018. I think it was. Yeah. Yeah.
Good.
And I also like mythologies, and I like the mystics, the stories of mysticism and all that stuff. It's just, they're great. there's also a dynamic immediacy in that book, because it's like it's not linear. It's like, it's quite extraordinary actually, the way she's written it. It's like it's just it's dynamically what it is. Like it's sort of like deconstructs contextualization, and then it sort of contextualizes it, and then it goes out again. So it's like it's quite there's a euphoria about it, and it's like quite provocative existentially as well as societally. It's very it's quite a multi-layered novel. Yeah.
Sometimes when someone encounters something like that type of literature, it can be a little bit, what can I say, troubling initially, because you can't make sense of it.
Oh yeah. It's like disorienting. Yeah.
Good.
Likes to contextualize things, place things, and have them in their right place. You know, it's like that can be a source of great comfort. Yeah.
It really looks for structure.
It does tend to do that. Yeah.
Like structure.
Yeah.
Who's got the mic? Thank you. So Alexis, earlier you spoke of divine despair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just to share, that can be very interesting, the divine despair, because for me, all meaning, I don't know, if you like, structures have been, and I appreciate it might be in the story, me contextualizing it and relating to how things were and they are now, but there can be a cascading away or a fading away or something, or an easing. And in life, relationships completely collapse.
Yeah.
Friendships, because they had meaning. The relating can't happen anymore. The relating.
Yes.
So friendships, you know, ages ago, BT, a company, British Telecom, friends and family bonus. So friends and family, they're like, it's changed.
Yeah, it can, yeah.
One has to be a bit careful with family, but with friends, relating can't happen anymore. It's quite, and it's fun. The funny thing is, it's for no one. It's actually not easy to even articulate, because it's almost as if I have to, one, contextualize what's happening, and two, relate it to somebody else. But when falling away happens, it's for no one, right?
Yeah, it's the falling away of there ever being a sense of someone.
Yeah. And it's dramatically unlike anything the individual could even think about doing.
Right. Like it was going to be some special desired state. Yeah. Yeah, it can seem for many that all relationships that we're invested in, what's in it for me and what's in it for you, like that can quite rapidly and dynamically fall apart, because if there's no ability to meet an other with transactional needs, it's tricky to maintain that situation.
Very, very tricky. Transactions can't happen.
Yeah, transactional relationships, which arguably all relationships are, because it's separate based, and I mean relationship on the relative level of me and you, and here's what we do, and that can't sustain itself if there's no one there to buy into it. But then other relationships on the practical, can actually be intensified and enhanced, so to speak.
Yeah, those relationships can enhance in quality.
Yes.
Like the ones that are not based on inauthenticity or relating or wanting or needs, they can enhance. Yeah.
Less game playing.
Yeah, game playing has vanished, has to vanish. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seeking itself, and both seeking in the traditional sense of the word, and relationships are seeking as well a lot of the time because they're need-based, uses up such a fundamental amount of energy. That's become apparent as well. It's such a huge amount of energy that goes into that. And ease emerges in the space of that seeking, or has happened here.
The ease,
like the ease, just
the ease from the seeking, do you mean, or?
Dare not say how hard seeking was or how intense it was, but just relative ease. Things seem to happen rather than them being done.
Yeah.
So in that, it's just ease.
Yeah.
It's just one thing, then the next thing, then the next thing. Flow, if you like.
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing is, for no one, I think it's the first time I'm articulating this, it's not as if one can go around telling other people that this is happening, that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
I like the word ease, yeah.
Ease.
I like that.
Ease emerges.
I feel a lot of stillness right now. Is that something you experience? Is that what this is like for you?
It can appear. Yeah, it can appear. That there could be like a lessening of a hard to pinpoint and pin down. There's this kind of energy which feels momentous, and it's like it feels, and I really mean the word feels, viscerally charged, and it's moving somewhere, and it's going somewhere, and it's getting somewhere, and it's getting something. It's progressing.
Like an anticipatory energy.
Yeah, and it's advancing or retreating. Wherever it's going, it's moving, and that can seem to.
So is that like the desire or aversion? So it comes to like a middle point.
It depends how we're using. It depends how we're using those words.
Yeah. In like a
aversion.
Buddhist sense.
Yeah. So. That.
Because that's sort of how.
To translate it to non-duality, it would be seeking and resisting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which fuel the fire of samsara itself, the wheel of life, going round and round cyclically towards a better destination. I seek for what's over there, and I resist what is. In that sense, that dying down is completely collapsing, it's fading, or it's falling apart, however it seems. Because that is the dream of seeking and resisting. Yeah. And confusion would be the other one as well, rather than delusion, I would suggest. And that kind of energy can wither, crumble, because nothing is sensed as wrong existentially. Nothing is sensed as wrong.
Like, would people find it hard to work after this, or to have
maybe
like quite a busy schedule where you're doing a lot all the time?
Anything can happen. Okay. Yeah, it depends. Again, if it's like the transactional relationships, and I'm in a vocation that demands me to be this, it can be quite devastating.
Yeah. Did you have anything like that?
A little, yes, actually, as it happens. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was working in a special needs school for 7 years.
Okay.
Care work before that. And over the last couple of years, it got increasingly hard to play the game of being in an institution that projected progression onto children with neurodivergence. It got progressively harder to play that game, yeah. And yet, it got divinely easier to be with the kids as they are.
I could imagine being with kids gets a lot easier.
Oh, absolutely! It's so
they're
much
just
fun.
so free.
It's so much fun.
They're so free and lovely.
Yeah. It was kind of two things going on at the same time, ironically. Like being in the system and in the institution got harder, but being with the kids got easier. Yeah. Because all the agendas to change them and make them better were coming from a subtle sense that I need to change myself. Yeah, undeniably. Yeah.
Should have moved to like a Waldorf school.
Yeah. Say again.
Oh, you should have moved to a Waldorf school.
What's a Waldorf school?
Waldorf, it's like a bit hippie alternative.
Oh, right. Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, let's go there. And we just play all day. We just go in the playground all day. Yeah, yeah, and just dance and have fun. But even the system and even the institution, to some extent, acknowledges that the learning really happens on the playground. It's called the hidden curriculum. And even, many institutions, school institutions, whether they're mainstream, special, private, academic, whatever, many of them admit to that. They admit that the learning really happens on the playground. That's when kids learn the best, because they're just out, just in nature, chaos, like it's just play, and they fight and they fall and they get up and they build, and it's like that's. Yeah, but then the institution is a projection. The institution is like it's apparently an external representation of the individual. It's like, routine, order, structure. We have to do this, and it's like supposed to, have to behave. It's like these structures so narrow, and that's like an external representation of the individualistic and institutionalized energy of being a person.
It is like they're building a person. I feel like schools.
It seems to, but I wouldn't go as far as to say that the school imposes individuality onto children. That would be a bit much and a bit far. But it is like the school system, the education system, and so many other systems are like apparently an external representation of a dreamt individual. Because it's so contracted in a way, it's so kind of rigid in its structures and whatnot, and many children it just doesn't even work at all, because it just seems so unnatural to so many. But I'm not saying that that's wrong or right. It's just what appears to be happening. Yeah, yeah.
So would you observe that from that place that schools that I can't think of the word encourage play and really get the sort of vibrancy, if you like, and the value in that, and that schools that really don't and want bums on seats and what would you say about that? Would you, because one could be perceived as better, and I'm just wondering where that fits into like what you would, if children to if they were to partake somewhere and you were responsible for a child, would that be a choice for you to go, actually the place that is play feels more aligned? Or maybe you wouldn't want a child to go to school at all. I have no idea, but I'm just curious how that fits in.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? I mean, I wouldn't claim to know. I think play is really great. Yeah, as far as greatness is going, but I just can't say any more about it really than it's the external representation seeming to impose and project solidity and rigidity and progression, because a lot of it is about progression, and you do this, then you do that, you do your A-levels, and then you go to uni, and it's like this whole sort of treadmill energy is like kind of setting in there, and it's just a lot of it is totally neurotic and unnecessary.
And I would totally agree with that. And if there was a system though that actually wasn't that got that play is the way to learn, and that's a wonderful sort of edict to kind of energize, if you like, that is a different thing to institutionalize, actually hammering shit out of children, frankly. Like,
yeah.
excuse my language, but yeah.
It's a system that has no one at the centre of it turning the cogs. And it is symbolic, really, of an illusion of there being a self that seems to be in a body running the cogs, running around doing the motions. And what is wonderfully, deliriously, hysterically and anarchically exposed is that there's no centre, there's no self, there's no point, there's no distance, there's no separation. Freedom is absolute, it's all there is, total, unconditional. You can't reach for that, because even the reaching is it too. Even the grabbing, the resisting, the seeking, the claiming, the demanding, the desiring, it's all totally equanimously this. Freedom sees no polarity or boundary. It is wide open. And so everything is that. Everything is this freedom. It's already. Absolute is already. Thank you, everybody. Much love. Thanks for coming and hanging out.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all. See you in a bit, maybe, or see you tomorrow.